Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me once again for Get Your Money Right with Yvonne. I'm Yvonne. How's it going? And for those of you who are looking for the spot to talk about saving money, you are indeed in the correct place. So, we're going to start this the way we always do by me asking you, how are you doing? How's it going? How are you faring? Challenging times for everybody, and I just want to be mindful of those challenges, right? And just see how you're doing. And I just want to be that bright spot that always asks how you doing. And I don't want any of that, oh, I'm fine, when you're not. Stop and think and just know that we're wishing the best for you and just hope everything's going okay. This is a very supportive community. So if you would like to become a part of it, we would love to have you. But don't worry about that now. We'll talk about it at the end, okay? So, how is it going for me? Things are going fine, no issues. Spring is thinking about coming, and I love that. But something kind of weird happened that I'm just going to share with you guys here. So, in our neighborhood, we have a rent to own situation. So, the previous owner found somebody to take over the house, and they're paying extra each month. So, I guess a contract for deed type of a thing where you pay X amount over a specified number of years, and then that will count as the down payment for the house. Then you oftentimes refinance it and kind of go from there. So it's been kind of a revolving door of people living in this house. And I don't know that we've met all of them, but we wave, passing by and stuff like that. So one day, not too long ago, one of the newer guys there came across the street and knocked on our door, introduced himself, and was just kind of talking. I don't even know how he started, but eventually he was saying something like his roommates said that he had a delivery, and when he got home it wasn't there. And so he came to our house after that, and he's kind of asking some questions. And I'm thinking my spidey senses are like, what's going on here? And he kept talking, and he said that his roommate said he had a delivery. It's not there. Do you know anything about it? And I'm in my head going, what? Finally, I said, so what would we know about your missing mail? And just looked at him. He looked away, and apparently that was the end of it. But I'm like, okay, did you just accuse me of stealing your mail? Really? So, yeah, a few days after that, he knocked on the door again, asking for my email address because he knows I work from home, and said, well, can he send me an email when he's expecting a package, and would I go get it? Okay, let me see if I understand this. You accuse me of stealing your mail. Now that you've determined maybe I'm safe, you want to ping me to go get your stuff. I'm like, no, no. I didn't even know he was at the door when he was talking to my husband. I said, I don't want to be responsible for anybody else's mail. So he goes, oh, I understand. And I'm like, no, 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 no. I'll wave and I'll keep walking. But if you're looking at me when things are missing, no, bye. So I just thought that was weird, but it's nothing new. It's things like that have happened before. It just kind of is what it is, and we just go on with life, right? So, what else? Well, that I like to read stories in money magazines just to kind of see what people are thinking, what they're struggling with. And I found this interesting. So, a gentleman in his 20s was writing in, and he was a little bit, I won't say angry necessarily, but he was saying things like he's being told things like, stop buying coffee, your specialty coffees, your $5 cup of coffee. You're going to have to eat the same thing over and over and over, and all these other things. He had gone down the list of things he didn't want to do to try to save money. Now, on the one hand, I can definitely appreciate where he's coming from. Okay. We all work hard, right? We want to enjoy this life. We're only going to get one trip around, and so you just want it to feel good. You want it to feel right. You want to enjoy yourself. And I totally get that. And maybe when I was younger, I thought along similar lines. I don't know. I don't really recall, but once I realized that to take care of my future, there were sacrifices I was going to have to make. And maybe this gentleman is not at that point just yet. And again, frustrated. I get that. And it just reminds me of that college professor that I had. Don't bring me problems, bring me solutions. And I always try to look at that and I go, okay, here is the situation. What can I do to improve it? Me personally, I don't want to say, no, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. Whatever. Woulda, coulda, shouldas, all of that kind of stuff. You have to decide for yourselves, each and every one of us, what is important and what isn't. We make these determinations ourselves, right? So, when someone is struggling with cutting expenses, whatever that looks like, on the one hand, I get it. So what are you going to do? Here's the problem. Maybe you don't have enough money to even pay your current bills. So how do you even think about saving for retirement? How do you manage to do that when you don't feel like you're keeping up with today, right? And I totally get it. And I, on some level, really related to what this gentleman was saying. That, if there's anybody out there who's struggling with something similar, you're not saying you won't do, you just can't figure out how to do. And there's so many apps out there, and use them if they work for you. Me, I just pull out that blank piece of paper. What do we do with that, right? That top line, how much are you bringing in every month? And that should include, well, hopefully by now, it will include retirement savings. So that has already come out of your check. So here is the net, not your gross, your net. What are you getting? What is that? What is the amount of that paycheck every couple of weeks times 2, because you want to do your monthly expenses, right? Then that first line is pay yourself first. And by pay yourself first, we're talking about savings. Do you have money set aside for an emergency? Do you have money set aside because you want to get ready to take a vacation and you're putting money away? If you're like me, you're also putting money away to pay taxes, just to make sure there are no nasty surprises come tax day. If you were to owe any money on your taxes, do you already have that available? And then I also have that savings account for my the insurance for our vehicles. Put aside, I don't have to worry about it. And then after that, how much do you owe for your bills, your monthly expenses? What is that? And you're tallying it up to see what you're bringing in versus what's going to go out, and just being very aware of your finances. Might some people call that boring? Possibly. It's not the most scintillating thing to look at your expenses, but if you're not paying attention to your money, who is? Life is about living, obviously, but it's also about choices. What choices you make determine the kind of life you're going to have. Do I feel deprived? No, I don't, because I have planned for things. I'm not saying every single hour of my day is structured. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just determining what is important to me and what do I need to do to get to that point. And, like I've told you guys before, retirement comes up quicker than you think. I remember being, 15, 16 years old and making disparaging remarks about age. And I'm guessing those cousins that I said it to were probably about 40. And now that I've passed that, I'm like, oh, why did I say those things? You don't know. We all do stupid things when we're kids, right? We just do. And we learn from them, and you appreciate time and what it takes to get through life. You become very, very appreciative. And I'm not saying young people don't. It's just as you grow older, you're like, that was a good time, that was a good whatever, and just enjoy. And so I know that if I don't put money away, I will not have a good retirement. And I just, no, just can't do that. And as I've told you before, I'm fortunate that I have the three-legged stool, which is Social Security in some form. There may be some reductions in it, but we will have it in some form. Then I happen to have a small pension that I got from a previous employer, which I'm now able to access. So very, very grateful for that. And then I'm putting money away in my 401k. And I'm putting away, I forget exactly, the whole percentage is 24.5%. Some of that my employer is kicking in, and the rest I'm making up. So 24.5%, which, I went as far as I possibly could. I wish I could put away more. But since I am paying off the student loans, a good portion of my cash goes to that, because I can't go into retirement owing any student loans. There's just no way I could afford it. So I've taken care of what I needed to do. I enjoy my life. I intend to one day enjoy my retirement. Not there, that's a few years away, but just getting ready for it, because as I said, it's coming quicker than we all think. And so when those folks ask me how much to put away in their 401k, that's going to be different for all of us. I can't really tell you. If you make me pick a number, I say start with 5%. And no lie, you may feel it. You probably will. I know I did the very first time I did it. But I became accustomed to it. And if there was a shortfall, and there's a shortfall in my expenses right now, it's 25 or 26 bucks, something like that. I won't know for sure for another week or so, and then I just have to make some adjustments and make it all work, because I can't have $25, $26 going out that I am not bringing in. And I'm not going to touch my pay myself first line, because there's reasons for that money. Just out of the way, out of sight, out of mind. What do I need to do to make it work? So please, whatever you do, if you can, and now I'm not saying everybody can put money away for retirement, but we need to plan for it, and you need to, at some point, make a plan for doing just that. So with that, I'm going to wrap this up and say, oh, before we get to wrapping it up, at the very beginning of this, I mentioned if you'd like to become a member of this community, we would love to have you. You see where it says subscribe there? Just follow that prompt, and just know that there's never going to be a charge for it, ever, ever, ever. We just do this to share information out there with all of you. So with all that, we thank you for joining us once again for Get Your Money Right with Yvonne. I'm Yvonne. Please be good to yourselves and be good to each other, okay? Until next time, bye.